When we scroll through our screens every day to get news, are we seeing the real world or a distorted illusion shaped by algorithms and driven by emotions? Can journalism still serve the truth? Faced with an information environment where it is difficult to distinguish between truth and falsehood, and where emotions dominate, we must ask ourselves, how should the news strike a balance between facts and social responsibility? German thinker Walter Benjamin once pointed out in The Storyteller that modern news emphasizes news becomes fact delivery without experiential depth or lasting truth. He believed that truly valuable reporting should enable people to understand the structure of reality in time, not only telling people what happened, but also helping them understand how to interpret what happened. Benjamin critiques the daily news cycle. Journalism is written each day only to be forgotten the next. This todayness turns journalism into a short-term reaction machine, void of historical consequences. Oswald Stiller was a journalist for the Chicago Daily News. On December 15, 1937, he published a report titled Mass Slaughter by Japanese Troops, in which he provided a detailed account of the atrocities committed by the Japanese army in Nanjing, including horrific scenes such as streets peppered with corpses. These records not only served as eyewitness testimony at the time, but also have been repeatedly cited and studied throughout history, becoming vital tools in the fight against forgetting. As Walter Benjamin emphasized, journalism should not merely focus on the events of the present moment. It must also bear the responsibility of preserving collective memory and historical truth. British writer Alan Borden mentioned that news reports themselves are inherently limited and thus tend to be biased, so it will lead to the emergence of fake news. On the other hand, Friedrich Nietzsche bluntly stated in On Truth and Lies in a non-moral sense that the so-called truth is a metaphor agreed upon by humans. Fake news has a market precisely because it caters to people's emotional sense of authenticity, even if it is false in terms of facts. So can we say that the information provided by the news is not useful? Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard reminds us that truth must come from the subject. News is not merely a means of conveying information, but also an ethical judgment. Alan Borden also pointed out that news reporting not only determines which news will be covered, but also shapes the public's perception and understanding of the world. Journalist Carol Cadwallader's in-depth investigative report on Cambridge Analytica's illegal collection and manipulation of data from tens of millions of Facebook users, as well as its interference in the Brexit referendum and the US presidential election. The Guardian did not merely expose the information, but provided a wealth of background, data charts, and ethical commentary, guiding the public to reflect, do I know how I am being influenced? Promote the awakening of collective consequences and social responsibility. In the face of the tidal wave of fake news and emotional dissemination, I believe that journalism still has the ability and the responsibility to strike a balance between facts and social responsibility. It should not merely be a cold, impersonal compiler of data, but rather a narrator with ethical judgment. Truly valuable news doesn't necessarily grab attention, but it can guide people to think for themselves through accurate facts, comprehensive context, and clear logic. It is not about creating a unified truth, but about returning the ability to think critically to the audience. Perhaps this is not a shortcut to traffic, but it is the beginning of rebuilding trust.